Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. It is Thursday, December 11th. This is CTV News. Tonight on the road, power company face-to-face with customers on bills and security. White gold, ski hill operators hopeful for a profitable season. And a seasonal showstopper, a full-blown Christmas spectacle.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. We begin with political news from Prince Edward Island tonight, where the Premier is stepping down from the job so he can try to win it back permanently.
I've really had the time to reflect, and the parties found this window to open up the leadership contest, and I made the decision on that 100% on Monday after the by-election that I think Islanders still have confidence in this government, and I want to have a role in that.
So Rob Lance officially resigned as Premier this evening, announcing he is running for the leadership of the island's Progressive Conservatives. Party rules say Lance had to quit as interim leader within 10 days of the announcement of a leadership convention, and there will be one taking place in February. Lance has had the job since last February when Dennis King abruptly stepped down. Deputy Premier Blois Thompson will be sworn into the top job tomorrow. He will, by the way, be the island's third premier this year. Some Nova Scotia power customers had a chance today to bring their billing concerns directly to the source. The utility is hosting a series of public sessions around the province to answer questions about bills and security. CTV's Jonathan McGuinness has more.
This Nova Scotia Power Community Information Session is the first in a series of events that will be held around the province. The goal is to answer questions from customers about their power bills face-to-face. The utility has hosted public sessions like this before, but this one has a little more importance. A cybersecurity breach earlier this year saw customers' information compromised. NSP found out about the breach in April, and they told customers about it in May. Since then, NSP has been estimating the bills for a number of customers, and some of those have been inflated, with customers pointing out their costs have doubled.
They have an option online to update your meter reading, and it doesn't update your meter reading, so they need to have these meetings in order to fix the problem.
Yeah, we know everything that's happened over the course of the last 8 months has been a concern for our customers. We have heard that, and we know that being in the community and talking to people does help. If there are people who are more comfortable talking in person, that's why we're here today.
Customers left today's meeting with mixed reactions. Some were pleased with the answers they got, others weren't. 4 more sessions will be held like this across the province. The next one is tomorrow in Middleton. Jonathan McGuinness, CTV News, Yarmouth.
Brand new challenge for the people of Campobello Island, New Brunswick, to tell you about tonight. Residents who've always relied on medical appointments across the International Bridge in Maine are now being told that Medicare will no longer cover those costs. Campobello Mayor Harvey Matthews telling CTV News residents started getting notices about this about a week and a half ago, that regular non-urgent office visits in Lubec, Maine would no longer be covered by Medicare. That includes scheduled appointments, chronic disease management, medication reviews. Matthews says the change impacts at least a couple of hundred island residents. The issue even came up in the legislature in Fredericton this afternoon.
We have elderly residents, like a 91-year-old grandmother who can't drive all the way through Maine to St. Stephen or St. John for a doctor's appointment if she can get one.
We are looking into this. We are investigating. Many people on Campobello do receive good, timely, high-quality care in Lubec.
Health Minister Dornan insists any change is simply an oversight, and his department will fix it.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Those promised new security measures for the Dartmouth General and the QE2 in Halifax will take effect this weekend.
All right, step to the side here, man.
Security guards now being trained on new AI-based metal detectors aimed at keeping everyone safe. while keeping patients and visitors moving in a timely manner.
They give our security team the ability to have an idea whether or not this person might have a weapon on them. They differ from conventional metal detectors in that they're able to recognize a lot of the common items that people might have that are not weapons but are made of metal.
13 hospitals and other medical facilities will get at least one machine in the next 6 months. They cost about $80,000 a pop, but frontline workers say they're worth every penny. Tensions between the Nova Scotia government and Mi'kmaq leaders seem to be intensifying, with one First Nation banning the premier from its lands and another now considering the same thing. Still, Tim Houston defends his government's cannabis crackdown and rejects claims that chiefs are being shut out of key decisions. CTV's Jesse Thomas has the latest.
Premier Tim Houston is facing growing criticism from Mi'kmaq leaders who say the province is making major decisions first and consulting after. Recent tensions include the lifting of the ban on uranium mining and fracking, and now the government crackdown on what it calls illegal cannabis dispensaries on and off reserves.
There will, until the end of time, people will be complaining that the government didn't consult enough, didn't consult properly, didn't consult broadly enough.
But Houston insists they did consult.
I will assure you 100% that we meet and exceed those obligations every single time.
The Assembly of Mi'kmaq Chiefs disagree. In a letter last week, they called the crackdown another example of what happens when the province will not come to the table with us from the outset. One First Nation community has even banned Houston and 2 cabinet ministers, while another band is considering a similar move. Sibeghinegati Chief Michelle Glasgow told APTN News the ban was implemented because their community felt attacked.
I think when our safety is attacked and when we're being targeted by the government, I think all communities should be doing the same.
The province couldn't say how much money is moving through the underground market. The NSLC reported more than $127 million in cannabis sales last year. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
The Wolastoq Nation plans to appeal a ruling to the highest court in Canada. In what the First Nation calls a disappointing decision, the New Brunswick Court of Appeal today ruled in favor of private logging corporations in an Aboriginal title claim case that the band filed back in 2021. The court says it needs to allow private owners to participate in the process where the private land is subject to Aboriginal title claims against the Crown. In a statement online, the band says it will appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada about that. Looks as if the northern pulp lands are being sold. Titnish Holdings Limited, based in Oxford, Nova Scotia, has a tentative purchase agreement to buy 173,000 hectares of timberland for about $235 million. Proceeds from the sale will fulfill the 2024 settlement agreement between the province and the mill owner, Northern Pulp Nova Scotia. Officials say the deal will protect pensioners, preserve ongoing woodland operations, and settle provincial debt repayment. The province, by the way, the backup bidder if this deal falls through. There is now a plan in place in New Brunswick to try to attract and keep more teachers and other school staff. The plan promises better tracking of why teachers stay in the profession or why they choose to leave. There are promises of more support for teachers who are mid-career to help with mentorship or administrative opportunities. Officials also aim to hire more speech-language pathologists, social workers, and psychologists.
There's a lot of work to be doing, and with any plan, it's implementation. So it will be our job to work as a partner in some of the strategies that happen, but also in holding government accountable.
I mentioned even in my opening remarks that while door knocking, I heard a lot of people concerned about schools and teachers and respecting teachers and making sure that they have what they need to do their work. So that makes me very confident that this strategic plan will be implemented.
Still, the education minister did not provide a firm timeline today on when the entire strategy would be fully rolled out. Countdown is on at a busy street in Halifax as road work finally nears an end.
We're in the final week, and they're putting the finishing touches on, so there are a few sections of sidewalk that still have to be done, and there's a bike lane that needs to be paved, and there's some landscaping and infilling just to make sure there are no tripping hazards.
Crews have been working on Dutch Village Road since April. The $10 million redevelopment project was complicated by some issues involving piping and storm drains. Still, officials say the work will be done in the next few days. Welcome news for area businesses, which have seen steep drops in numbers of customers because of the torn up streets, lack of parking, etc. Still to come tonight, Kaylin's full forecast, and we'll show you the rooftop beehive belonging to New Brunswick's health minister in the amazing harvest that it produced this year. Coming up next, though, ready to roll.
We hit, I think, -20 here locally last weekend, and that just, it was dry air, and it makes good snow.
Maritime ski hills are preparing to open and glide through a happy holiday season. Details are next. Stay with us. Cold temperatures and early snowfall are giving Maritime ski hills kind of a head start to the season, and they're grateful. It's an early gift after a lean few years. CTV's Josh Smith has more.
At P.E.I Mountain, staff are getting ready for skiers to hit the slopes for opening day tomorrow.
We were really excited when we heard the word possible polar vortex.
Hey everybody, we're making snow!
So snowmakers took advantage of the cold nights back in November.
We hit, I think, -20 here locally last weekend, and that just, it was dry air, and it makes good snow.
There's already a lot of interest, and the phones have been ringing
off the hook, which is great. And you know, the engagement's high. Season pass sales are great. Seeing old and new faces every day.
Around the Maritimes, other ski hills are seeing similar momentum. In Nova Scotia, Ski Wentworth is also preparing for an opening soon.
What was so neat this year that hasn't happened in a long time is we had an actual early snowfall. So we've got about 30 centimeters plus of natural snow on the mountain. So we're very excited to announce that we'll be opening December 19th, weather and conditions permitting, but it's looking really good.
Back at P.E.I, staff says opening day also brings an economic boost.
We can bring up to 2,500 guests here a day.
Josh Smith, CTV News, Sussex, New Brunswick.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Speaking of weather, we'll step aside for a moment, but when we return, it's Kaylin Mitchell's complete maritime weather forecast as we ease toward the weekend. Pretty lights everywhere, and there we'll show you some more later. Okay, December 11th, the month's just ticking along, and I know it was nice to see the sun today, although the winds picked up a little later.
Yeah, that's right. And the winds have stayed on the gusty side for tonight. They're also colder wind now, being out of the west, so it's grabbing colder air. It's located over the province of Quebec and bringing it into the Maritimes. That's happening as we're now behind that Alberta clipper that did bring them out. A fair amount of snow across some communities in the north of New Brunswick. Some reports over the 20-centimeter mark, and I see mixed through central parts of that province. And then P.E.I, Nova Scotia mostly ended up on the milder and damper side of it. As that cold wind is coming over the Bay of Fundy for tonight, it is increasing the risk of some snow squalls for parts of Nova Scotia, including in the southwest, up through the Annapolis Valley, in around the Minas Basin. Maybe a lower chance as well around parts of the North Shore into Pictou County, eastern Prince Edward Island, and up into Inverness and Victoria counties. And those same areas will have a risk of some further snow squalls into and through Friday morning. If you get into one of those snow squalls, you may run into some snow-covered roads and some reduced visibility. Now, the risk of those squalls is expected to diminish as we make our way into Friday evening and Friday night, and the wind speeds begin to come down. In the meantime, though, those areas are underneath a snow squall watch by Environment Canada. So again, the Tri-County region in Nova Scotia, up across the Annapolis Valley and around the Minas Basin, and to Inverness and Victoria counties in Cape Breton, northern Inverness County. Here's a look at the wind gusts for tonight, and they're expected to be quite high in the region of 30, in the range of 30 to 50 kilometers per hour for much of New Brunswick, 40 to 70 for parts of Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Exposed areas of the southwestern coastline of Nova Scotia might even peak with some gusts close to 80 kilometers per hour. That could include in and around the Clark's Harbor area. And then, as I mentioned, it stays windy throughout much of the day on Friday, with the winds diminishing Friday evening and Friday night. Temperatures are cold tonight as well for many parts of the Maritimes. They'll be falling into a range around -4 to -10, coldest in north and western areas of New Brunswick. And with the winds, so talking about wind chill, they'll be feeling well down into the -teens. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow across northern New Brunswick between -1 and -6. And high temperatures in central and southern parts of the province tomorrow, mostly in the range of -3 to -5, including -4 at Fredericton and St. John, and -5 at Moncton. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures near -4 for O'Leary, -3 for Summerside and Cavendish, -4 at Charlottetown and at Montague. In eastern areas of Nova Scotia and Cape Breton for tomorrow, the high temperatures between -4 and -2, and between -4 and -2 as well for much of the North Shore and Eastern Shore, -1 at Canso. -4 for Amherst and Truro, Enfield, City Centres, Halifax and Dartmouth tomorrow with highs around -1, -2 at Chester. The Annapolis Valley with high temperatures near -3, and on the south shore of Nova Scotia near -1 for Liverpool and Shelburne, near 0 for Yarmouth and Barrington. Taking a look at the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick coming up for the weekend. On Saturday during the day, a mix of sun and cloud. Flurries, though, Saturday night. And then on Sunday, there'll be another round of flurries coming in during the nighttime hours. Chance of flurries and a colder start to next week. It remains colder into Tuesday before temperatures moderate Wednesday into Thursday. For Nova Scotia in the outlook, coming up on Saturday, cloudy with sunny breaks during the day, but a round of flurries expected Saturday night. On Sunday during the day, increasing cloudiness, snow Sunday night into Monday as a coastal low pressure system moves past. Colder on Tuesday, and then a mix of sun and cloud with high temperatures coming up into low single digits on the plus side of the scale there for both Wednesday and Thursday. And for Prince Edward Island, coming up in the forecast for Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud with flurries expected Saturday night. On Sunday, it'll be a mix of sun and cloud with some snow coming in Sunday night into Monday. Those looking more and more likely, like that may be a lighter snowfall for Prince Edward Island. A chance of flurries and colder temperatures on Tuesday. Then a mix of sun and cloud, and temperatures coming up a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday of next week. High temperatures near 2 degrees. Bruce.
All right, thank you, sir. It is exactly time for us to take a quick little break, but come on back. We'll be right here.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
The New Brunswick legislature is handing out a sweet homemade treat this Christmas, courtesy the health minister, who says it's part of his best harvest in 25 years. CTV's Laura Brown explains.
It was a beautiful October day when we spotted New Brunswick Health Minister Dr. John Dornan take off his tie and head up to the roof of the Legislative Assembly, carrying beehives?
The bees didn't mind a new place to hang.
He's harvested honey for about 25 years, usually with the help of his family back in St. John. But this year, after getting elected, Dornan wondered if he could bring the bees with him to Fredericton. The Speaker of the New Brunswick Legislature said, sure.
So it's kind of exciting. It's a chance for me to share apiculture with people in New Brunswick.
It turns out the bees have enjoyed their change of scenery. The queens, named Anne and Britannia, led an extremely productive harvest. And last week, their sweet success was officially bottled up. The entire process happened right here at the legislature.
Downstairs in the basement, in the kitchen, and we did the bottling with the help of some employees.
Called the Speaker's Honey, the two hives made 250 bottles, and some could land all over the world.
And offered some to the ambassadors, the visitors that are coming to visit our Legislative Assembly.
They're hibernating now with a few thousand bees around each queen in each hive. And so we'll leave them there for the winter. We won't disturb them at all. And come spring, we'll open up the hive and we'll start all over again.
A queen bee typically lasts about 4 years, which, of course, is the same amount of time as an MLA's mandate. So their plan is to continue harvesting as long as they can. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Sweet story. Thank you, Laura. Okay, time for one final break tonight. Coming up, a Maritime Christmas display you won't soon forget. Trust me when I say that. First, though, it's your wake-up weather. Here's a look at Fredericton on this Thursday evening. The streets looking kind of slushy. Kaylin Mitchell's Friday morning wake-up weather coming up next. Friday morning now comfortably upon us. Let's kick it off with a look at the wake-up weather and Kaylin Mitchell.
And you're going to want to dress warm for those morning hours and, well, really the afternoon hours of tomorrow as well. It's going to be a cold and windy day across the Maritimes. The morning temperatures several degrees below the freezing mark across the region, feeling into the minus teens with those gusty west winds. Remember, there will be a risk of snow squall, so the winds are basically blowing onshore in Nova Scotia off of ocean waters. It includes the southwest up through the Annapolis Valley and around the Minas Basin and into Inverness and Victoria counties in Cape Breton. Other parts of the region tomorrow afternoon, cloudy with sunny breaks, and there'll be some scattered flurries around in those gusty winds. Bruce.
Thank you, Kaylin. You've probably seen some impressive Christmas displays this year, but just wait until you see this one. A family in Bible Hill have transformed their property into what can only be described as a holiday showstopper. CTV's Jim Quammen takes us inside this country Christmas wonderland.
Hot chocolates in the back and candies for the kids. And if you want to go in to see the animals in the crowds, you're more than welcome. If there's a
about the 1st of November we started doing it, and then we opened up on the 23rd. If you'll notice on the sign, it was called Carson's Christmas. That is my spouse's now deceased father, and he was a Christmas fanatic, so I decided to decorate the great big tree that we have in his honor. And it drew a crowd and people drove by, so I just continued a little bit more for them, a little more, and it basically grew into this over 3 years. We got 1.5 acres, and I have, last count was 38,000 feet. I don't know exactly how many light bulbs that will be.
Say hi!
Well, I basically just I have animals, goats and ducks and dogs and stuff, and I have to let them out in the evenings after work. So I just putt around for 4 or 5 hours a night, put a set up here and a set up there. Wherever there's an empty space, we just add to it. And every year it seems to be growing and growing. I've had a couple of people actually donate some of their Christmas lights to add to this here display, so it worked out quite well.
It was fun, and I liked going through that tunnel from there to there, and I liked trying to find the Tweety bird.
There's 7 different spots they can go to. We have a memorial area for anybody to write the names of any deceased people or family loved ones they have. We have the pond area where we have a stuffed dummy named Carson that joins us for Christmas every year in honor of Carson's Christmas. And this year he's just fishing in a boat. And then we have our regular flower garden area. Miles Manor, the swing set, is the area in the back corner where the kids can just play on the swing. And then we have a tunnel system behind the hut, which is the little area there, and a fire pit area. And then we also have a signature place where everybody can sign their names as they're leaving, going out the driveway on the other side.
I feel like it's really warming, and I feel like it will bring, if people come, it like brings them cheer after a long day.
Basically, we ask if you want to, you can bring a food donation. We give all of our food. Last year we fed 14 families with a big amount of groceries, and this year it's unbelievable the amount of food that I have in the house. 4 families this year. We're definitely going to surpass 20 people. And the cash donations, we have a 50-50 draw as well. That goes to the Colchester Food Bank, and they can do with it as they please.
Amazing work there. All right, that's the late news for tonight. If you joined us late and you want another look at anything you've seen, ctvnewsatlantic.ca, always your home for news. I'm Bruce Frisco. Thank you for staying up late with us tonight. Have a good evening, and we hope to see you again tomorrow for Friday.